What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into covers albums in search of the world's greatest covers album. Um, and today I'm going to do a covers album by Shaw Blades. That's the name of the duo. It's Tommy Shaw from Styx, Jack Blades from Night Ranger. Did not know about this covers album called Influence, but the first covers album I did was a Styx album, and this was recommended in the comments to that video. And since it is a band I've already done, Tommy Shaw's Styx band, I've done on my channel, like their whole discography, and B, it is a not a covers album that focuses on a single artist or on covers an album like Flaming Lips would cover Dark Side or Sgt. Pepper's. It's not something like that. Because it's a mix of covers, I thought I would do it now, throw it in the mix. And I really enjoyed it. Came out in like, I think 1997, 2007. Not a big Night Ranger fan. I still have on vinyl their first 2 or 3 albums that I bought back in the 80s. I don't think I've listened to them since in the 80s. Really surprised at how much I enjoyed Jack Blades' voice. There's a number of songs on here where I was like, okay, as soon as somebody starts singing, I'm out, even though musically it sounds pretty good. But that kind of only happened once. Actually happened twice. And I think both times Tommy Shaw was the singer. So Jack Blades, I thought had a pretty good voice. At least it worked really well with the material that they picked. This is all a lot of soft rock, a lot of acoustic stuff. They take a couple acoustic tracks originally and kind of rockify them. I think that's maybe the least successful stuff on here. 11 tracks. One track I've already done on the Rush cover album, For What It's Worth. So now I've done, I think it's the 4th album I've done, and we have 3 songs that have been covered twice. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, they don't really do much with the songs. They pretty much play them straightforward. And most of the time that made for a good listen. Like I enjoyed listening to this album, but I can't say it was really something that compelled me to want to come back to it. But they sound good and the voices sound good. And I think the strength of this is they chose material that suits their voices well. The harmonies are fantastic. They both have fantastic voices. And as far as the rock energy went, it was pretty restrained. A couple solos, one pretty tasty, one maybe didn't need to be there. But yeah, I've only listened to it twice, but I'm not sure I will listen to it a 3rd time. But I enjoyed it. Opens up with a cover of Summer Breeze. Well, they're all covers. The Seals and Crofts song. And at this point, I so want this album to be a home run. Like, I want every cover to be like the perfect thing because I'm really enjoying Summer Breeze. Pretty true to the original. I think Blades is singing this. And I think his voice maybe has a little more weight in it and just makes the song a little more palatable to like not early 70s ears. Maybe a little more of a pop heft to this, like in a good way. But the opening track is good, and it's a great opening track. And I'm not going to go listen to a Seals and Croft album anytime soon, but this was good. I enjoyed this. That's followed up with Time of the Season, the Zombies track. Also another one that's pretty true to the original, but they add some really nice guitar throughout it. Just kind of lurking in the background with this kind of aggressive rock tone. We get a nice tasty guitar solo. The bass presence starts to get towards the end. It's a pretty good cover of Time of the Season. Like following the Summer Breeze, this one feels like it's still, you easily recognize the song, but there's a little bit of their sort of rock pedigree in it, but not overwhelmingly so. So we're off to a great start. First 2 songs, not home runs, but we're on base, man. We're maybe hitting, Summer Breeze maybe scored off Time of the Season. Good, maybe single, maybe a double. But anyways, Summer Breeze is fast. and not the tempo, just its ability. Never mind. The third song is Your Move, cover of the Yes song. We don't get in All Good People, just to Your Move. This just doesn't work. The guitar doesn't have sort of the dancing nuance that House does. Just it doesn't. It's a little too straightforward. Vocally, it just doesn't work. Blades is a bass player, and there's not much bass presence in here. You think he'd have a good moment to drop some nice just bass notes throughout this. Yeah, and then we get the build to the end, but instead of dropping into All Good People, we just get like this short little acoustic coda. No, Your Move does pretty much nothing for me. And I think vocally, it's probably the one song more than any other. I'm like, okay, yeah, you did the vocals just didn't work. We get I'm a Rock. They go big 90s rock, kind of crunchy for this. Nah. Paul Simon's melodies nestled inside a rock groove don't quite work. It's ambitious. Give him props for that, but I just don't think this was the right Paul Simon song to try to go big on. And it would have been nice to hear maybe Tommy Shaw sing something a little more delicate like this, bring out a little crystal ball energy and get softer. But I think that's a missed opportunity, maybe. Lucky Man. Lucky Man, if you're listening to it on the radio and like the quality was kind of poor, you'd be convinced this was Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It sounds great. The only thing that's wrong with it is I keep waiting for that Moog solo to start and then go and continue, and we don't get any keyboard Moog synthesizer presence at all. Instead, we get some guitar. And the part that, like the normal part of the song, is an incredible recreation of Lucky Man. Like the vibe is fantastic. Vocals are great. They do a good job. But what is this song without that closing solo? So I got to pass on this. It makes me want to go listen to the original, which should not be the purpose of a cover song, unless I'm discovering it for the first time. Sound of Silence is pretty straightforward. California Dreamin' is the other one that really works. They go for kind of a rock bounce to this, maybe a pop rock bounce. And the song is so incredibly good that it works. The drumming is really nice and on point. There's a nice guitar solo in here. The rock energy works really well. They're not hitting it too hard. They're working within the confines of this song. This absolutely works. California Dreamin' works. Yeah, I'm very happy with this. But again, it's a fantastic song, so just don't mess it up, and they don't. Then they cover the Hollies on a Carousel. I don't like the original version of this. I think this is a little more palatable because I don't think the vocals on that, I think it's Graham Nash, the lead vocals on the Hollies version, just bother me. Not something I want to listen to. I think this one maybe smooths out some of those mid to late 60s British pop idiosyncrasies that don't always work. But just not a good decision, not a good cover. Don't really like the song, so got to pass on a Carousel. Dirty Work is another one where when the vocals started, I was expected to be like, oh man, we need some Palmer here. We need the original vocalist. But I think this is Blade singing. Yeah, man, he delivers. At no point am I missing the original. It sounds good. They do add this sort of, not too dominant in the mix, but it's their acoustic guitar in the beginning that doesn't need to be there. This needs more of a sweet, sweet keyboard presence. It's a good version. I don't know if I ever need to listen to it again, but I think Blades does a fantastic job of the vocals. They overthink it a little bit with that guitar, at least the way it's mixed, but not a bad cover. Then we get our For What It's Worth. I think this succeeds better than the Rush version. It's a little more true to the original. Towards the end, Shaw does some like vocal, like gymnastic type stuff, where not for too long, but does a little riffing at the end that doesn't need to be there. Not that ambitious, pretty more faithful, I think, than Rush is. But neither one of these bands should have covered this song. The original was kind of perfect, so no props for that. And then the last song is a cover of Orleans' Dance With Me. And it's just not soft enough for me. That opening acoustic guitar is just a little too thick, has a little too much presence. Like you can tell the lights are all still on in the room. Like on the original version that Dance With Me, you know the lights have already been turned low when that guitar starts in the beginning. This one, you're a little too like, no, turn down the lights. If I'm going to dance with you, it needs to be a little bit darker. And Shaw sings this one, and it doesn't work. I was waiting for Blades to come in all smooth. I was like, yeah, man. And then Tommy sings it, and his voice is not this kind of smooth. Not the kind of smooth that Dance With Me needs. So I enjoyed this, but it's still a covers album. And a lot of these songs, I'd rather now just go listen to the originals. There were 3 songs out of 11 I like. Plus, I'm going to give it an extra point just for the overall vibe. They focus on the harmonies. They do a good job of recreating songs. If you're not someone who already like owns these albums and this is your only chance to hear these songs, and you like Shaw and Blades, but you're not into music all that much, this is a great covers album. Like, I think they do a fantastic job. And even when they put a little rock energy into it, they don't blow it. For me, though, it got 4 out of 11, which is right there, about 36%. But yeah, 36%. So it takes it at number 3 on this list. But yeah, but still, I enjoyed it. It was, I think it's kind of lack of ambition is what really made me enjoy it. They're like, these are songs that influence us. We're going to do our best to represent them, and maybe every once in a while we'll play around. Doesn't mean I'm going to listen to it over and over again, but I respect it. So anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this album. Any others you want to recommend? I'm not familiar with a lot of covers albums. I don't pay attention. So send me in a direction and I'll check it out. I'm glad I checked this one out. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.